Hey everyone, this is Jen, and I'm just checking in with you. First of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for your lovely and supportive and kind words. They've meant a lot to me. I'm still not feeling super strong. I guess I feel like a bit of a fake giving you a video asking you to be strong when I'm not necessarily feeling strong. But I do want to share, part of my experience with you. And so I'm going to just take, maybe 5-10 minutes here just to kind of let you know what's going on. There are times when I'm reminded how serious of a mental disorder borderline personality can be. But the emphasis on disorder, like a disordered mind. And, I still haven't changed my idea that this disorder is based off of maladaptive patterns of thinking and behavior that are linked to cognitive distortions, which are linked to trauma. And back in October, I started seeing someone in my apartment building. And very quickly, I started to see patterns, destructive patterns, replicating breakup, makeup cycles. There have been 3 of those now. Gaslighting. If you haven't checked it out previously, check out my video, the BPD NPD trap. It's very common that people with borderline link up with people with narcissism. Not only are they both in the same cluster B category of personality disorders, and they share some common characteristics like fear of abandonment, shame-based, emotional lability, trouble with emotional regulation. They also have a lot of opposite characteristics. Borderlines want to please and have lots of empathy. Narcissists want to take and they have a lack of empathy, right? And so it can be this very parasitic dance. And the last time I was in a dance like this, it was in 2019, and that was a relationship that was on and off for about 12 years. So really long part of my life. And I found myself entering in this again. And there was like a breakup right before Christmas. Oh, and I should mention, if I haven't already, he lives in my building. I think I did mention that. So constantly, daily, or at least every other day, I'm either seeing him in the parking lot, right? Like I'm not engaging him. So there was a month, we had like one breakup. There was just shady behavior, like deleting text message threads, and I'd question him on it, and it was always some, like, well, he just, it's like, that's fucking shady, like, if you're my boyfriend, you can look through my phone, I don't care. Now, when you start saying things like, you start hiding the phone, or you start saying, shit like, well, that's my privacy. Well, what do you have to hide? So anyway, he was hiding something. So anyway, if I would go to share my feelings, he would blow up into this big argument. And I began to feel very triggered. And this happened December 19th. I can remember it very clearly because we had this night out. We went to a play and like we had dinner in the city. It was this great night. And then right after having sex, I was sharing my feelings with him, and he's holding me in bed, and out of nowhere he exploded. This night's ruined. I don't know where I'm standing with you. It's up, it's down. And of course, like I'm hearing this and I'm processing this and I'm like, oh gosh, like is this part of my BPD? Like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to feel this shame. Like maybe, my stuff's not fixed. Like, what am I doing? I'm hurting another person. And so I'm like, okay, can you just calm down? Can we talk about this? Like, because it was really out of nowhere, guys. Just, I mean, as I'm talking to you right now, I was talking to him, and he just literally left my apartment, slammed the door. So, we were going to spend Christmas together. We had all these plans. So I just dumped everything that I had for him at his front door. And I was like, this reminds me of my father. This is a relationship pattern, once again, that I find myself in. And I'm like, no, I will not submit. I will not do this. So then around Christmas, I got to be honest, I was feeling horny. And, I reached out to him, and, we had this night together, and it was like, I don't want to mess this up again, on his part, now he's just out of rehab in October. So, which is fine. I've been 10, 12 years sober myself, but, going to rehab doesn't fix everything, right? Like they have a saying in AA, if you're a drunk horse thief and you go to rehab, you're still a horse thief. All rehab does is get you sober. It doesn't actually identify the problems of why you're drinking. So anyway, 2 days later, I come downstairs. I'm exhausted from work. Christmas was a really busy period for me for work. And again, he starts another argument, projecting onto me, gaslighting me. You just came down here to argue. And he went out on his balcony and he shut the door behind me, and I just screamed at the top of my lungs, and I was like, I am fucking done. I was like, maybe I'm starting arguments because we never resolve anything, right? I slammed the door. I went upstairs. He had already blocked me. I tried to send him like a WhatsApp. He had already blocked me, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like, I'm blocking you. So for a month, I blocked him. And then a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago, I went out into the mountains. I took my dog. I went out in the mountains, and it was the first vacation I've had in 3 years. Very low cell service, 7 acres, by myself, and I had a lot of time to think, and I became very depressed. Suddenly, without like all of the commitments to make and the clients to service and the just day-to-day stuff that keeps your mind occupied, a lot of stuff came racing at me. And I thought about this guy a lot. Let's just call him Mr. X, okay? I thought about Mr. X a lot. And it got me really thinking, I'm like, why do I miss him? Like, what's going on? Is this a trauma bond? Is this not healthy? And so there were times, guys, during that trip where I considered just crashing my car into a tree, or, rolling it down a ravine. And the only reason I didn't was because my dog was with me. So when I got back after this vacation, I went to my doctor and I was like, look, this is really serious. And remember, BPD has a 10%, that's 10, suicide completion rate, and that's very high. 1 out of 10 people with BPD will complete suicide. That's a really scary number. And I have a suicide attempt. I have a serious suicide attempt under my belt. So, in 2007. And so I talked to my doctor, we got me some meds, we tweaked, we talked. I was like, okay, I want to find like a trauma counselor, right? Like somebody who specializes in EMDR. And so I've found that. I've found a couple people. I've had one appointment. I have another appointment on another weekend here coming up. So in the midst of this, I'm still living where I'm living. He's still living there. And I'm outside with my dog, and I'm feeling vulnerable. And I've blocked him, and I've not talked to him for a month. And he's been trying to force interactions. Like, he tried to say hi to me in the parking lot. He tried to wave and all this other shit. And I was ignoring him. And then my dog ran up to him, and then I just felt vulnerable, and I started talking to him. And so, suffice to say, fast forward a day later, we're in bed again. And this time he starts crying, and he's holding me, and he's like, I I'm 41 years old and I can't believe I'm about to say this. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say, but I love you. I have loved you. Every time I've seen you walking around outside, it's killed me. It's hurt me. I've missed you so much. I've missed everything about you. And I was moved, and I was like, well, I love you too, and I do. It's fucked up, but I do. This guy's been abusing me, but I love him, right? Terrifying. So during this whole time, that was like a Friday. And so Saturday he's in my house, and I have a cloud cam in my apartment. And I'm making him dinner, and then I sit with him on the couch, and these texts come from this girl. And he says, oh, well, that's nobody. Why the suspicion? And I'm like, well, the suspicion because you're being suspicious. Because he was like trying to like hold his thumb over this text message, which he kept deleting, by the way. Because, she was writing something like, oh, yeah, I'm having lemon piccata chicken for dinner. So she just didn't like text him that out of the blue. Like he was texting her from my apartment on my fucking couch while I'm making him dinner. He's telling her what he's having for dinner, most likely. And she's responding what she's having for dinner. This is the night after we've slept together and he's told me he's loved me. So he admits that like it was this chick that his friend had introduced him to while we were broken up. And I'm like, fine, I don't care. Like we were broken up. I was talking to someone. You can fucking talk to whoever you want to talk to. I don't care. But just let me know. Did you sleep with her? Because we're not using condoms. We both got tested together. So I want to know, right? Like, anyway, the same shit's going on. He's still getting angry. Like nothing's different. He's still complaining all the time. He has a pending DUI charge. That's not his fault. He has a probation violation. That's not his fault. And then like on a Wednesday, so we're only talking 4 or 5 days back, I'm feeling like this suicidal ideation getting worse. I feel this niggling feeling in me like he's not telling me the whole truth. I don't believe he didn't sleep with her. So that night, we had this long text conversation. And I was like, I can't do this. I don't believe you. I don't believe you with this girl. I was like, I just can't. I cannot do this. He's like, well, I don't care. I'm done anyway. Okay, great. I was seeking some reassurance and, I was like, okay, well, I still dumped you again first, whatever. So I told him, I was like, and by the way, part of the reason that I wanted to crash myself into that tree, because I told him that, was because of the way you've treated me. And he's like, oh, well, this is really great. Like, you're blaming me. I'm like, I'm not blaming you. I'm like, I'm telling you the truth. So that whole night, all into Thursday, he's texting me like, are you okay? Like, do you need a suicide hotline number? I'm like, nope, don't need any of that. And then the next day, he's like, can we talk? And I was like, sure. I was like, thank you. And I'm just like in a daze. Guys, I felt like The Walking Dead. I was a blank. The only thing keeping me going was my pets. Who would take care of my pets? I don't trust anyone to take care of my pets. Otherwise, I was pretty much ready to just check out. So that's where I've been. And we go down there, and I go down to his apartment, and he's packing, and I'm just like, where are you going? He's like, you can't ask me. He's like, we're not even together anymore. Like, you're smothering me. And I'm like, why did you want me to come down here then? And he's like, well, I don't think we should get back together. Like, they keep telling me I should focus on my recovery. Like, I feel close to drinking. You're going to make me drink. So he's like blaming me, right? Like, I'm like, that's not my responsibility if you drink. That's on you. So the argument escalates, and I was like, so 4 days ago you want to be in a relationship and today you don't. He's like, yeah. I was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, do you love me? And he's like, yes. And I was like, okay. And I'm just getting more worked up, and the fight just kept escalating. And I felt myself get into a bad place. And he was like, well, we can still like hang out and like get the dogs together. And I was like, right, we love each other and we're going to hang out and we're going to do stuff, but it's not going to turn physical. What the fuck sense does that fucking make? That makes zero fuck sense. None. Nada. Zero. Like, so again, just like with BPD, people with narcissism or narcissistic traits, they have that emotional lability, that impulsivity. I want you, I hate you. Get out of here, don't leave me. I love you, I don't want to lose you, but I don't want to be in a relationship, right? So like there's this fear, this pulling, like not knowing what it is you want out of something. And it didn't end well. We had a huge fucking fight. And I went through his phone and he had deleted all my pictures, but he still had this picture of this ugly chick that he had been texting, and he had like sent her bedroom like face selfies. And I'm just like, ugh. He claims they never met. I don't know. I've sent pictures and I was talking to that guy and I had never met him, and we were like texting for 2 or 3 weeks. So, I mean, it's possible. But the thing is that I don't trust him, right? And then, in the middle of all of that, I'm telling him that I'm feeling suicidal. And he was like, well, I don't want to date anyone who's suicidal. I don't want to reciprocate. That's what he told me. He's like, I don't want to reciprocate. I was like, then, well, that's what a relationship is. It's reciprocation. Supporting your partner. So he left me. He left me. He went to mommy's for 4 days. And he was upset that I went through his phone. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, you were caught. That's what you're upset about. So he left me when I needed him. And I mean, I've had friends to lean on, but it's been really tough, guys. And I mean, he texted like, I didn't abandon you. I'm going to go see my mom, 4 days in North Carolina, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, because he always runs to his mom's when he can't face the music. And he was there 4 days. And he says he's going to help her. I'm sure that's the line he's giving to her. But really, and I texted his mom too, because I took his phone. And I was like, hey, yeah, mom, it'll be good for me to like come down there because like I fucked this girl and I told her I loved her. And now she's really sad and depressed and I won't support her. So I need to get out of town for a few days. That's the real reason he went to go see mama. Yeah. So he went down there, and it's just been very devastating to me because it's really made me evaluate, that I'm 42 going on 43 years old, and I feel like I've never had a successful romantic relationship, and it hurts me so much. It's made me feel so empty. It's made me look at so many demons. It's brought up, feelings of my father and my childhood and how I was parented. So I want to share this story with you. 1, because you're my BPD family. 2, I gotta be real with y'all, and if you're out there feeling suicidal, if you're out there in these types of relationships, you're not going crazy. You're sick and you need help and you need support systems. And sometimes you don't have it. And sometimes you're not strong enough to get it, or sometimes you're not strong enough to see what's going on. Or sometimes, even like me, you are strong enough to see it and you're self-aware, but there's still a part of me that wants him. Why? He was even like, well, we can talk when I get back. And I was like, I don't want to, why? I don't want to talk to you. I want to hurt you as much as you've hurt me. I haven't. I've wanted to take that revenge, guys. I drafted that letter, to send out. I'm not sending it. Because that will just prolong my pain or my connection to him. Anyway, I've sought out a trauma counselor, somebody who specializes in EMDR. And I'm looking forward to that. And borderline, when it creeps up, or your depression or whatever other comorbid diagnosis you may have, bipolar, for instance, it can really be a threat to your life. And it has been to mine of late. And I got to think about decisions about moving or not moving. It's hard when you're self-employed. It's been really difficult, and I haven't spoken to him. I've blocked him since, I don't know what it was, February 10th or whatever. So it's been over a week now. I'm in pain, guys, and I'm trying to put on a happy face, but I don't feel happy. So that's what's been going on with me. I have another video that I did mid-January that's in my, it's in my app where I've been editing it about how to be a better friend, but I think we'll save that one for later, and this is the one you'll have for now. Talk to you later, guys. Please leave me your comments below, your thoughts, any thoughts. Okay.